Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another car ride review. Let's talk about Thor Ragnarok. Oh, hang on. Let me turn the lights on. That's better. So, where were we? Oh yeah. Car ride review for Thor Ragnarok. So I saw it yesterday to me, and enjoyed it. So the non-spoiler version of Thor Ragnarok was that it was a good movie. It works well in the Marvel timeline, in the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, but a very Guardians of the Galaxy lighthearted but serious vibe to it. It had a good story, it had great characters, and overall it was a enjoyable movie, and I did like it. Some of the qualms I had with it is that it was a little too Guardians of the Galaxy, almost like a rip-off of Guardians of the Galaxy, not in like story but just in tone. But there wasn't anything wrong with that because it made it a fun movie. You know, I know the complaint with some of the previous Thor movies was that they weren't written well, they weren't good movies. I actually enjoyed the second one and thought the first one was okay. You know, they aren't my favorite movies in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe, but I thought they were still decent movies. So I'm not really sure where too many people got on with the fact that they were bad movies. Maybe they don't necessarily stick to the comic book, but I mean, I was never a big Thor comic book reader. Even though I kind of like the whole idea of Thor because it follows that Norse mythology, you know, the way the Vikings deities were set up, you know, so Ragnarok was a real thing in Norse god mythology. So I enjoy that. I just never got into comic books. They weren't my go-to read. Not that I really had a go-to comic book read, to be honest with you. Again, though, you know, getting sidetracked, this was a good movie. It was worth going to see, and I'm sure as soon as it comes out, I'll buy it and watch it again, or rent it and watch it again. The soundtrack was really good. You know, like I said, very, very similar to the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, their soundtracks on both Guardians movies were really good. So the same thing, I'd like to have the soundtrack to this movie. It was excellent. You know, nothing spoiler here, but you know, it's got the Hulk and Loki and Thor and Hela, and I really, really, really enjoy Mark Ruffalo's version of the Hulk. I thought the very first Hulk movie was terrible. It was just all CGI, and the story wasn't that good. I thought Edward Norton made a really good Hulk. Wasn't a fan of his Bruce Banner, and that's kind of some of the things with these movies where they have dual identifications, you know, Superman, Batman, Hulk, where they're playing two completely different people. You know, Spider-Man and Peter Parker, while, you know, one's a superhero and one's just a teenage kid, they're still the same person, they still have the same personality, so you don't need an actor that can play a dual personality, whereas whoever plays Superman has to play Superman and has to play Clark Kent. Whoever plays Batman has to play Batman and has to play Bruce Wayne, and that's a lot of the problems. You know, that's why Michael Keaton did such a good job. He was a good Batman and he was a good Bruce Wayne. Christian Bale, great Batman, so Bruce Wayne. You know, same thing with the Superman roles. You know, Dean Cain, great Superman, so Clark. Whereas Christopher Reeves was an amazing Clark and Superman. So that's the same thing with the Hulk. You know, he's a dual personality, so you have to be able to give personality to the Hulk when he's seen as like this just super strong, green guy, but also be able to play an incredible Bruce Banner, because that's who the character of the Hulk is. And Mark Ruffalo does a really good job, and he really shows that acting and that ability in this particular movie. So him and Thor have always been fun together. They always compete, you know, because Thor thinks he's the strongest and Hulk thinks he's the strongest. There's some really good dialogue in this movie. There's some really funny little quips and quirks to this movie. And to be honest with you, Hela was the bad guy this Thor franchise has needed. Not just because Cate Blanchett looks absolutely amazingly fierce, gorgeous, strong, intelligent. Like, she's just like, she's the villain of supervillains, and I loved her, and I loved her portrayal of Hela. I loved her portrayal of this character, and I'm just, she should be in every Marvel movie, and I totally go see them all anyways. I love Cate Blanchett. She's a really good actress, and so in this movie, like, she plays such like a dark, like, it's crazy. Like, it's just she's fierce in this movie. So I loved her. I loved her acting in this movie. So yeah, she's definitely my favorite villain in the MCU. So anyway, so we'll go from this point on. There may or may not be spoilers. There probably will be. Let's not even kid there, because we're gonna start off with this one. Dun dun dun. Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. She freaking dies! Why does she die? No! So, I mean, they technically don't show Hela die, but that's the way Ragnarok works. She has to die. Asgard has to die. It's got to go up in flames. So, I'm a little sad that she's gone, because, like I said, she's my favorite villain thus far. On top of that, let's see what else. Oh, Jeff Goldblum's character of the Master. I think Jeff Goldblum's just, he's funny, he's quirky, and he brings a uniqueness to every character he portrays. Almost to the point that, I guess, you know, they say some characters, some actors play the character, some characters are played by the actor, you know. I think I said that wrong. You know, like, there's roles that are written for actors. Like, to me, Tom Cruise only does Tom Cruise roles. And that's because whatever character he is, it's meant to be a Tom Cruise character. And I kind of feel like Jeff Goldblum gets that a little bit, because a lot of his characters have very similar personality traits and quirks. But he does such a good job with each and every one of them. You know, like, this Master is vastly different than his Jurassic Park you know, the scientist that he played. So, being the Master and, like, in charge of this entire planet, he doesn't have to be, like, he's not an overtly, like, strong, like, in a sense of, like, power leader, but he's so incredibly charismatic and so incredibly lovable as their leader, as the Master, that people, I think, just do what he says. So I think that's what I love about his character in this movie. Like, just the way there's a scene where he touches the guy with this rod and it melts him, and he's all like, oh God, I'm standing in it. It's on my shoes. I'm standing in the goo. And so then there's a scene later where he's talking about punishing people, and he's like, go find him. And his, like, right-hand guard hands him, or goes to hand him the melty stick, because he's like, or I'll punish you. And she goes to hand him the melty stick, and he's like, why do I want the melty stick right now? What good would that do? I'm not trying to kill anybody right now. And she's like, like, she's just like, she's the second in command that likes to see people die. So his character and his portrayal in this movie was really, really good. I love that they brought in the giant wolf from Norse mythology, and I want to say, I think his name in Norse mythology was Fenrir, or it may have been, I know Valshu means wolf in Celtic. So it's not that. I think Fenrir was the name of the wolf, and I can't remember what she called it in the movie, what Hela called it in the movie. But anyways, this movie had a lot of funny parts. My only disconcerting tidbit to the movie is that it was very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque, and I felt like they were trying to play off that run that the Guardians of the Galaxy movies have had. So for me, that was a little off-putting in that sense. Just because I want them to be their own movies, I don't want them to rely on this formula, you know. And like I said, I enjoyed the first Thor movie and really enjoyed the second Thor movie. Of course, this movie's got Loki in it, and that's the thing about the second movie, is I guess that was more of a Loki movie than it was a Thor movie. But this is definitely a Thor movie, and Chris Hemsworth does a really great job in this one. And again, it's funny, it's entertaining. The beginning of it's a little slow, not a ton, but it takes a little bit to build to where they're going, because they're trying to build this story and make all of this stuff happen in this movie. So, you know, you find out that Hela's his sister, and that she's the oldest of Odin's kids, and that she was, you know, Odin's weapon and his right hand and his executioner, and that they conquered the 9 worlds, and she wanted to go further, but he didn't. So that's where they came at odds. And so basically, now that Odin's gone and he's not there to hold her back anymore, you know, she's coming to reclaim Asgard, because like all of the other kids of Odin, you know, Asgard is where they get their power. That's where they're most powerful. So that was kind of cool, but it took a little building up to that. And so it was a little slow, not a ton. You did get to see Doctor Strange in this one. And of course, you know, Benedict Cumberbatch does a really good job with that character. I've always loved Tom Hiddleston's portrayal of Loki. He does a great job. Loki's one of my favorite gods when it comes to like the stories and stuff, because he's the god of mischief. Yeah, it was a good movie. Like I said, the only drawback I have, like, really, when I was thinking about it this morning and yesterday when I was going to do this car ride review, I was like, you know, I didn't really care for it. But like, the more that I think about it, and the more like I talk to you guys about it, the more I realize I really did enjoy the movie. It was a really fun movie. I think what off-put me, you know, yesterday and earlier, was that it had such a heavy Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. So, bouncing around a little bit. The after credits scene, I don't think you'll really get unless you kind of know where Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is going. I haven't watched any of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. this season, but I know where last season ended, and I kind of understand like where the route of this season for that's going. So unless you really know that part of the MCU, you may be a little confused by the end credit scene. But yeah, this was it was a good movie. It was enjoyable. The kids really enjoyed it. My mom went with us. My mom actually took us. She was like, hey, I want to take you guys out. Let's go do this. So we went and saw that, and she was like, because she hasn't even seen the first two, and she's like, that kind of makes me want to go back and watch the first 2 Thor movies. And I told her, I was like, I mean, be careful with that, because they're very different movies. So she's already going to go watch them or whatever. But anyways, yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other, you know, the Hulk fight, but the Hulk fight and the Thor fight, you know, the little clash between them was good. It was funny. It played out well. It was a good movie. Yeah, I think that the only discredit I gave it was it being very Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. But I mean, I got to give it to him for living on that hype, or riding on that hype too, because, you know, that makes money. And I enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. They were great. So, and I guess that's probably what made me enjoy this one a lot more than I enjoyed the previous 2. You know, it made this movie fun. So, anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. I think I've got all the big points out for Thor Ragnarok. Go out and see it, give it a watch. Like I said, it was really good. It was really worth it. I know we're going to see Justice League on Thursday when it comes out, so we'll have a car ride review for that one, probably Friday. And yeah, let's rock and roll. I'm interested to hear your take on the movie. Did you like the movie? What were your favorite parts of the movie if you liked it? Did you like this one more than you liked the other Thor movies? Did you like this one more than you liked any of the other MCU movies? Where do you rank this in your MCU movie list? You know, there's only like 20 or so out there. I think I would definitely put Ragnarok in my top 10. I don't know, without really like sitting down and writing out all the different movies, which one is, you know, ranked where. I'd definitely say this one's in my top 10 of the MCU movies. But let me know your thoughts, you know. Let me know if you understood the post-credits scene, if you knew what all that was. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I'm wrong about the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. tie-in. Let me know if I am. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I really hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, give it a like, give it a thumbs up. Definitely leave me a comment about your thoughts on it and share this with your friends. Let's see if they had the same thoughts on Thor Ragnarok as I did, or you did for that matter. Ladies and gentlemen, till tomorrow.